Okay, you finished your messy first draft. Congratulations! That's so exciting. This is a huge thing to celebrate. I am so proud of you. But now, what's next? What do you need to do in the second draft to keep moving your book forward? Because you've done the first draft, but you're not done. All right, so I've got 5 key points, things for you to do to create a better book. That's the second draft, is making the better book. Yes, you've got a lot of work done with the first draft, but there's more to do. Okay, first thing to do is to keep on writing. So you want to write the about the author section, you want to write the foreword, and you want to write the conclusion. So basically, basic communication is tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've told them. So now that you know what the tell them part is, that's your first draft, you want to add the tell them what you're going to tell them, what's the benefit of reading the book, and tell them what you've told them. That's the conclusion. And of course, write the author. So that's the first thing to do. So keep on writing. Second thing to do is to consider your book as kind of like a tapestry. Do you have any loose threads? So you may have a plot line or a character. Consider it like a thread, and you've got a beautiful tapestry. I mean, maybe you wrote about your mother in the beginning of the book, and then you didn't mention her in the middle of the book, and you didn't mention her at the end of the book. So somebody who's thinking about your mother is like, well, what happened to your mother? And did she die, or did you resolve your relationship, or did it go south, or did it go well? So resolve any loose ends like that. If you've got a gun in the first scene, it should go off, or somehow be addressed somewhere in the book, preferably sooner rather than later. So you don't want to have a smoking gun that's not resolved. Or I like to just say, it's tapestry. So be sure that you don't have any loose ends. And it's natural to have loose ends, but think beginning, middle, and end. So your book, whether it's a fiction or nonfiction, is like a plot. And there's your main plot line, but then you'll have a subplot line and a subplot line and a subplot line. Each character or each theme could be considered to be a plot line. So for example, most dramatic movies, there's the action on the top level and then there's the romance under that. So, what are the love threads in your book, and make sure that those all make sense too. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, if you're writing a book as a lead magnet, if you are an entrepreneur, a leader, an expert, somebody who wants to get your message out and attract clients, then now would be the time, and the second draft would be the time to just kind of salt in or cinnamon in, client success stories. Don't go with too heavy of a hand, but, put your expertise, your humanity, your raison d'être with your business lightly into the book where it would be appropriate and where it would flow. There'll be more about how to create a lead magnet later, but in the second draft, this would be appropriate to just say, oh yeah, I could add in that I, was coaching Susan and she had a breakthrough on that same issue, or whatever the case may be, depending on your business. All right, then the fourth thing to do is to tighten it. Yes, even though you've been struggling to write more and more words, the second draft is about tightening at least 10%. Usually 20% is a good rule of thumb. Usually when we're writing the first draft, we use extra words that are just not necessary. So polishing looks like tightening, it looks like omitting needless words, and it also looks like noticing your patterns. You probably overuse words, and so you can do a search and replace, or you can use Grammarly. It's an online app. I think there's a free version of it. So I highly recommend that. Like, I always, at the end of working on a book, I search and replace just, because I overuse just. So, and there's some words that are in my pattern of talking, and yours as well, that you'll tend to overuse. So you want to, I have to sometimes search and replace for extraordinary, because I like things to be extraordinary, but I need to mix that up. And so Grammarly can help you do that. Okay, so that's the fourth thing to do, is just polish, which is tighten, and look at your word choice. And then the fifth thing to do as you're working on your second draft is to identify some trusted readers who can read this next round. You don't want to give a book in process to somebody that you don't trust, so give it to somebody who is a writer, somebody whose opinion that you trust, somebody who will be honest but also gentle. But you need the honesty too, because there's no point in just getting feedback that's like fluff. You want honest feedback. And then don't use all of your readers all at once, because a person can only have fresh eyes once, but now would be a good time to line up those readers and maybe people who could give you some nice comments, reader reviews that you can put on Amazon or that you can even tuck inside your book. So those are 5 things to do in the second draft. But the most important thing to do in your second draft is to review and revisit and research your title and your subtitle. And that's so important. I've recorded another whole video about that. So that's the other thing that you can start doing now, but check out the other video about that. I'm Aurora Winter, and this is the 5 things to do as you're working on your second draft. Congratulations on getting your first draft done. Well done.